Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 16 German musical masterworks I couldn't live without. German. Goodness gracious. You know, this turned out to be a little tricky. I mean, sort of trickier than I thought it would be because, of course, so much of what we normally assume as the standard repertoire of instrumental music anyway, orchestral and chamber music is German. It comes from that school. But what is German music? Oh, what a deep, profound question that is. You see, I can't talk about German music without talking about unanswerable philosophical issues, because that's what German things are all about. And I just decided that I would first of all include Austria, because Austria was Anschluss at one point. And from a cultural point of view, as I've always said, and some of you have been screaming, well, Bruckner was Austrian and so it's nonsense. They were all part of the German cultural sphere. And that German cultural sphere, didn't Germanicize until, the first German unification in 1871 or about there. And it was all divided up into a patchwork of little thingies, and then this giant glop called Austro-Hungary, which eventually went to pieces, and after World War I, and then Austria became part of Germany for a few years during World War II, and then there's no point in applying notions of nationalist identity that have no cultural meaning in for our purposes. I mean, if a composer was a German-speaking composer operating in German lands in the German tradition, unless there's some other compelling reason for thinking otherwise in terms of where they were actually born, like not in the proximate German sphere, then they were German for our purposes. And so that's what we're doing. It made my life a lot easier, to be honest with you, because I could include all the important composers. Like you didn't stay in Germany. They went to Vienna. Yay! It was an imperial capital. Germany had lots of little capitalettes. And, people didn't want to stay there too much. Okay, so here we go. Biber, the Missa Salisburgensis for 53-part ensemble. Ooh, is that fun? I mean, I think we just needed to start there. I mean, somewhere back in the Baroque, and there are all kinds of creaky German Baroque composers like Schmelzer and Muffat and people like that. They wrote wonderful music, but this is about masterpieces I couldn't live without. I see in these comments, why didn't you in the organ music? Why didn't you mention Reger? How could you? It's like, you go mention Reger. Go make your own damn list. Leave me out of it. This is my list of stuff that I can't live without. I can live without Reger's organ music. In fact, it's incredibly easy to live without Reger's organ music and many other composers as well. It doesn't mean I don't like them, but we're talking about things that we really, really love, not some abstract exercise of making a list that has to include everything in 16 listings or less. So anyway, Bach, organ trios. I just love those pieces. They are the most fabulous examples of pure, beautiful counterpoint that you will ever hear. There was a cat going down the stairs. And they're amazing. Haydn, yes, he was Austrian. Okay, it's all right. Symphony No. 102, considered by many his greatest. I am absolutely in that camp. It's an incredible symphony. It is proto-Beethovenian, more than just about anything else that he wrote, and so beautiful and so sensuous in the slow movement with its gorgeous scoring for muted trumpets and timpani and solo cello. And oh my God, it's gorgeous. Absolutely incredible. So, if you don't know 102, give 102 a shot. You're going to be really, really glad that you did. Mozart's Gran Partita, the most amazing piece for woodwind ensemble ever written in the history of the universe. Incredible piece. A lot of people were puzzled that it wasn't in my wind and band list, but that was for more band music. It wasn't, Mozart's wind ensemble music is a little different. If I did a video about divertimentos and things like that, it would have to have everything Mozart ever wrote for wind ensemble. Just extraordinarily beautiful music. And the Gran Partita is the king. I just can't get enough of it. Beethoven, well, Piano Concerto No. 4. This was like the Beethoven piece that grew on me more than any other. When I was in high school, I had a friend of mine who was playing it. He was learning it. He was a very fine pianist, and he was sneering at it. He said, it's nothing but arpeggios. There's nothing interesting about it and all that. And that was what I took from it, because I put it on and it went da 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 da, and I went, oh God, who cares? You know, it was the Emperor that was the big one, the big deal. Now I feel just the opposite. I think the fourth is the greatest concerto Beethoven wrote for any instrument. And the Emperor's nice. I still like it. I like it a lot. I really do. But, oh, the fourth. It's just extraordinary, especially that second movement, the dialogue between the piano and strings. Oh, there's nothing like it. Nothing at all. Schubert, Die Winterreise. This is actually a very recent one, because I would have probably chosen the string quintet or, one of those pieces for my choice. But after having done our, Winterreise Wednesday series and listened to 400 recordings of that sucker, I've now come to really, really believe that it's one of the most essential pieces of song, for sure, and one of the greatest works of its type. And so I'm tossing it in there. It's a novelty for me because I'm not a leader guy, but Winterreise is really special. And it is to me now. And that's only happened in the past 6 months. We're always changing, right? If we keep on listening, then the ferment, the lists, our views of the world and the universe and music are always developing. And that's one of the great thrills of doing this, quite frankly. And if it hadn't been for all of you, I never would have gotten into it that much, because so many of you adore the work. And I don't have lots of friends who are like Winterreisniks. They just aren't. We tend to be a more cheerful bunch, but it's okay. It worked. Whatever got me there, got me there. Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony. Oh, I love German works about other places. They're so much fun, even if they're not, it's Italian in a very abstract way, because the finale is a saltarello. But was there a sunnier, more breezy opening in all of symphonic music? It's such a lovely, lovely piece. And it gets taken for granted, like almost everything Mendelssohn wrote. The craftsmanship, the effort that went into it. Mendelssohn never even published it. He didn't want to. He wasn't satisfied. He was never satisfied. And it's really a tribute, a testament to his genius. It's an extraordinary piece. Schumann, the Fantasy in C major, Opus 17. Oh, one of the great romantic piano pieces in that first movement, durchaus fantastisch and leidenschaftlich, and it has all those German guttural things happening in it. Oh, it's just marvelous. An incredibly beautiful, passionate, powerful, original, formally fascinating, melodically primo stuff in there. Oh, it's great. Just great. And I'm not a Schumann fan. I'm really not. But that work is really, really extraordinary. Felix Draeseke. When was the last time you listened to Draeseke? He's famous for writing his third symphony, the Tragica, which Brahms admired, of course, because it was Tragica. And of course, he's best known for this monstrous Wagnerian oratorio, Christus, which is one of the most boring pieces of music you've ever heard in your life. It's in 3 parts, and they're hours long, and you just want to kill yourself. But the symphonies he wrote, numbers 2, 3, and 4 particularly, one is somewhat anonymous, are really good works. And the fourth is subtitled The Comica. And it's very funny. It has a scherzo which is based on swatting flies. It's about trying to kill a housefly with a pair of cymbals going splat. It's really a delicious little piece. Funny and warm and witty and short and so not German. And you kind of feel sorry for Draeseke because he had to write the oratorio, Christus, and because his third symphony is the Tragica, which everybody likes. He actually had a very good sense of humor. The finale of his second symphony is also quite amusing. He could do it. But unfortunately, German Romantic music did not look fondly on people who just tried to be funny. They were considered unserious. That was always true. Haydn got trashed in North Germany by, C.P.E. Bach's buddies because they felt that his music was just unserious. It wasn't deep enough. It wasn't profound. It wasn't sublime. And actually, C.P. Bach liked Haydn quite a bit because he got it. There's a difference between people who like music for what they think it represents and people who like music for what it is. And Draeseke was a composer who understood music for what it is. He wasn't as concerned with what it was supposed to represent, except in that horrible oratorio, Christus, but the rest of it. The Comica is a trip, and I enjoy it enormously. Bruch, his first violin concerto. How can you not love the Bruch violin concerto? I mean, it's just delightful, and it's also probably the best thing. Well, no, the Scottish Fantasy is just as good. Normally, when I'm doing Bruch, I tend to prefer the Scottish Fantasy, but I think we have to acknowledge also the first violin concerto. They're two of the great concertante works of the 19th century, better than anything else Bruch wrote, except he wrote some lovely chamber music, too. He really did. I mean, there's some very pretty stuff. But, he was kind of a conservative curmudgeon, and his music hasn't worn all that well, except for those few works. And I'm happy to acknowledge that. Brahms, the String Sextet No. 2 in G major, which I've been talking about endlessly, and I did a 4-part series on how to listen to great music based on this piece. Brahms's chamber music is really, really good. It's really special and fantastically expressive, and far more, I think, immediate in its emotional ambience and in its originality than his symphonies are. As a symphonist, he was cautious. He was careful, and he was never comfortable writing for the orchestra. But in his chamber music, he just lets it loose, and nowhere more so than in this incredibly beautiful, and in the slow movement, really profoundly expressive sextet. It's one of the greatest chamber works I know, and it's securely on my list. And from that, we go just in the opposite direction, basically. Richard Strauss, Die Frau ohne Schatten. I know there's no Wagner on my list because I could really live without Wagner. I know a lot of you people can't, so that's fine. Put him on your list. But Strauss, I couldn't live without Strauss. Strauss is just too much fun. And Die Frau ohne Schatten is arguably the funnest of all. I mean, the plot is total nonsense, shape-shifting woman who's stuck without a shadow, and so she can't have children, and this dyer with his 3 special needs brothers and his shrew of a wife, and then the crazy nurse, and Kaikobad, the demonic dad of the woman who needs the shadow, the empress, and the emperor is going to turn to stone because she doesn't have a shadow. It's a totally unmotivated, none of it makes any sense, and the music is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I mean, it's Strauss's most opulent, extravagant, excessive, decadent piece of music, and it's just, you just can't get enough of it. It's glorious. Bruckner, Symphony No. 8. Got to put it in here somewhere. It's got to make it on one of these lists. It's a great symphony. It's one of the great symphonies. An extraordinary piece. It's the greatest symphony ever based on a grace note. As I've always said, a grace note is just a little note that comes before another note. That's a grace note. And Bruckner's Eighth is based on a grace note, or an upbeat, if you want to put it that way. The first movement, the first theme, da-da, 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 like that. And then the scherzo is do-do, do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. It's going do-do, like that. And the slow movement is the same thing. Chun, 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 chun. And the main theme, yada, yada. It's a grace note. And the finale with the violins. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's this enormous piece. It's based on the tiniest possible motivic cell. And Bruckner just goes to town on it. It's dazzling. Berg, Wozzeck. Yes, one of the most gripping, expressionist nightmare operas. I mean, it's dazzling, and it's so tragic. It's the most moving and powerful outpouring of sympathy for poor, oppressed, abused people in all of theater. It really is. It's an incredible piece, an amazing, humane piece of music, with music that is both structurally astonishing. I mean, it has formal shape and form, and it goes right to your gut. And the fact that it's atonal is just, it just fits. It is what it is. You can't separate the text from the music, from the impact that it has. It's a shattering experience and a glorious piece of music. Hindemith's Symphony, Mathis der Maler. Well, I have a personal attachment to this work because my first master's thesis was on the Der Fall Hindemith, the Hindemith affair that happened when Furtwängler performed this work and got a big ovation and demanded that the Nazis keep their hands off of cultural things, and it got Hindemith in trouble, and it got Furtwängler in trouble, and Hindemith wound up having to leave Germany because of it, and Furtwängler wound up wussing out, and after resigning all of his posts, taking him back and figuring that he was the salvation of German music. Oh, what an arrogant boob he was. But anyway, it's a beautiful work based on the opera of the same title, which is also a beautiful work. And, it's not a dramatic piece in the sense that, there's like lots of stuff happening on stage. There's not much of a love interest. And there's, it's all about the place of art in a time of turmoil. It's a historical drama, and it's a powerful and important piece. Hartmann, last but not least, we're at the end already. This went quickly. Hartmann's Symphony No. 6. Karl Amadeus Hartmann was a fabulous composer, and he saw what was happening, with the Third Reich, and he went silent for most of the First World War. And after the war, he essentially repudiated much of his early work and recast it in the form of 8 symphonies, and that was his legacy. I mean, now the earlier works have been revived, and they're very good. They're very powerful. He was a very, very, a very strong, modern, advanced composer. But he never quite achieved the success that I think he deserved because of what happened during the Second World War. And after that, he was in between two worlds. He liked traditional forms. He enjoyed writing fugues and things like that. But his music was functionally atonal, but not always. It didn't follow a system. And so he was out of favor with the Darmstadt avant-garde people too. And so he's been really neglected ever since. His pieces are very difficult, extremely virtuosic, not terribly long, and really, really, I think major statements. And the Sixth is one of the most powerful of them all. It's a brilliant, brilliant work. And so there you have it. 16 German musical masterworks that I can't live without by 16 different composers, including the Austrians. Yay! And you could do it that way too if you want. If you want to stick within the boundaries of modern day Germany, or if you just want to do Prussia, knock yourself out. But have a good time and give us a good list. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.